Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the live stream for this start of the week. It's Monday morning. It's a bit early for me. It's just after 6 o'clock, so bear with me this morning. I promise I'll get used to the new time. Hey, William, Vivian, Chuck. Good morning. Brian, hello. I think we're all struggling through this morning. Would it be an hour earlier? All right, so we got a little bit of bullish activity happening in Nasdaq. All right, so I took a peek this morning and I noticed that we didn't have it. There's no news today, so we'll be able to trade without any distractions. But we also will be missing that jolt of energy for volatility. So we're gonna have to be patient and wait for our setups, wait for our moments to take trades today. But I just wanted to highlight that there isn't any high impact news today. Also, there's no high impact news tomorrow either. There's a medium impact. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, here I am looking at the wrong week. Oh, sorry about that. All right. I knew there wasn't any news today, but I did remember there was high impact news every other day this week. It looks like the big days is going to be Tuesday, Thursday. So we have core CPI coming in tomorrow with several different metrics, as well as the 10-year bond auction. On Wednesday, we only have the 30-year bond auction. So the bond auction they release right at 1 o'clock. So when we come back for our afternoon session, that's when that injection of energy happens in the market. And then on Thursday is the core PPI and all the producers type metrics. Also, unemployment claims comes in on Thursday, and then we have some of the manufacturing indexes, consumer sentiment, and those kind of surveys that'll be released on Friday. And so that's what we have this week. It's nothing today, but then high impact news 8:30 and 1 o'clock pretty much every day this week. So should be a good day, a good week of trading. Let's jump over and just look at overnight and sort of the last 24 hours of trading, where we are on all all the indexes. On the indices, you'll notice I'm still on the March contract. I'm going to switch my contracts over tomorrow. So tomorrow morning you'll see me trading on the June contract, but I'm going to finish off today on the March contract. I noticed this morning I took a look at the Nasdaq and I saw the volume. It's now finally shifted to higher volume on June, but it's relatively the same on both. So what I'm going to do is just stick to where I have some markings on my chart and those kind of things. But then I'll make sure I switch over to tomorrow. So if you're trading on the June contract, there's nothing wrong. You're perfectly fine. Just note that when I'm speaking about certain price levels that I'm at, it's going to be slightly different on your chart. And tomorrow I'll switch over to the June contract, and then we'll be in sync again. All right. So it looks like we are in sync for the most part. It looks to be, yeah, all swept these lows. We see dollar index pushing higher after a decent period of consolidation. And so that was met with last Friday, 8:30, there was news announced. We saw a push all the way down, a recovery, and then it just kind of traded back up to consolidation. And now we see it's pushing up potentially for these swing highs that it's looking at. If you are part of the Discord, I put in my weekend sort of outlook on what I expected to happen this week. So go in and check that out when you go into the Discord. Go into NAS 100, or you can go into S&P 500 if you're an ES trader. There's even one for dollar if you just want to see my outtake on the dollar. And so I published those all three yesterday. I generally publish those on Sundays. And so on the weekend, you can go in and you can see what my expectations are for the week. All right, let's see who else we got. Miss Healthy, Girl Traders here, and Katie Gonzalez. Welcome. Absolutely. You know, I have my coffee. But yeah, if you're not familiar, here in Arizona, we don't change our times, our clocks. But since I'm working off of New York time, it's like I'm in New York's time zone. So you change yours, I change mine. So I'm in an hour early. All right, and back over to NQ. We have opening bell in about 4 minutes. Um, you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to. Um, this is for Robin. I don't think you should have to change over because it should adjust to the time zone. And so with the time zone switching over, it should just work for you the same as it did before. Yes, let me test that theory and pull up my, yep. Okay, so this is still on 8:30. All right, this is still on midnight. So at least on my charts, my 8:30 and midnight are still working, those indicators. Previous days highs and lows. Let's see. And then this is the low between 2 and 5. So yes, it should still work. The opening bell a couple minutes, and then I'll take a look at the session highs and lows and see what's still available. And here we go. Oh, okay. All right, Robin. Yeah, it still works for me. I think maybe it's all for you. So yeah, just go ahead and flip it by 1 hour. Okay, we can see right here, we had a London low that's already been traded into right around 8 o'clock. We had a London high that was created at 3, it traded into around 520. So we know both of our London values are already traded into. Now, if we move into the Asia levels, we have Asia high that has not been traded to. All right, Asia low has been traded into. So it's just the Asia high that's open right now. Go ahead and remove those session highs and lows. All right, do we have a turtle soup here? Well, Asia low already got traded to, so the only one that has not been traded to is the high. And generally, yes, we expect the highs and lows of sessions to be traded to. Now, if we're going to be heavily bearish, um, there can be a situation where the Asia high is left open, not traded to, and then we just push lower. All right, we had relative equal lows here. Now been traded to. Back, let me move up to the 15-minute. No problem. No problem, Dylan. Here we have relative equal highs here. These three, as well as this one, the Asia high. So we have all them clustered together. So I would venture to say that we'd likely trade into the Asia high today. Okay, so there's the London low. Wait a minute. This is London. Oh, this is London low from Thursday. Okay, finally got traded to. Okay. Yep. So Dylan, here's a situation where we had the London low right here on Thursday, 3 a.m. and we were pretty bullish after that, and so that level stayed open from Thursday all the way till now, and now we just traded into it. So I'll go ahead and delete that off the screen now, but it took 2 trading days to come back and get it. Okay, so rejection out of the hourly fair value gap so far. All right, we have quite a bullish candle here, really engulfing the previous one. Let's now see where this one closes. We have about 2 minutes left on this candle. See if we can touch the midnight open or if it's just going for these equal highs here. Right, so far on this 5 minute time frame, we've had 1, 2, 3, and now this is the fourth candle to test out that hourly fair value gap just above us, the bearish fair value gap. Okay, another 30 seconds on this candle. Okay, all right, so it closed a bit higher than the previous candle. Didn't close above the fair value gap, but now we see this next candle opening up and trading above the midnight open at the moment. Hey, Sniper, good morning. Great. So we completed two candles on the 5 minute, and you can see just how large the range is and how deceiving price has been so far. Okay, you got chopped in London. Okay. Yeah, I didn't take a good look at how London performed. We just quickly look. Okay. Yeah, it looks like almost a seek and destroy profile. Not quite, but very similar. Yep. Yeah, Sniper, it's not as easy to trade on days without news, just because price really doesn't have an objective or any turbo boost to get there. So it does the stair step, the stair climb. So it's a lot of retracements, and it's tough to catch a good entry. See if this fair value gap here gets reclaimed, since it was reclaimed relatively quickly. See if this is something you can use on the other side as far as this is concerned. Oh, okay. All right, Crab. Good morning. Welcome. Mm, too early, or maybe just not a good enough entry there. Let's try this again. Ah, got me twice. All right, I'll leave it alone now. HDS. You weren't here earlier. I told you I'm not using the new contract until tomorrow. I completely I know about the contracts, but I don't have to use the new contract. It's I'll roll it over when the volume rolls over. The volume rolled over this morning. I still have my everything marked up on this chart. I already discussed that already. Okay. Hey, good morning, Ray. It was literally the first thing I spoke about this morning, HDS. So sorry you missed it earlier. I know. And look, you're still trying to convince me. I'm telling you, just let it go. Just let it go. Yeah, it did. It passed it this morning. It just passed it this morning, but everyone else, but the continuous contract rolled over on Friday. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to roll mine over tomorrow. So this March contract expires on Friday. I will start trading the June contract on Tuesday. Go back to literally, this is how I opened up the segment this morning. Volume on the June contract is here. The volume on the March contract is here. And this is as of hour ago or so. And so I mentioned that I will flip mine over tomorrow. Once I have a chance to move all the markings I have on my chart and all those things over, then I'll do that. I'm not going to do that in the middle of a session with you guys. Yeah, cities are strong this morning. Not only the 5 minute one, but also this the 1 hour. We got what, 6 trades into the 1 hour just in the last just this hour. No, no, no. Robin, I think you're right. Ninja was right. June has passed March. It has more volume. I was just saying that since I just discovered that right as we were getting ready to launch the session, I wasn't going to spend or the early part of the session moving some of my markings over into the June contract. I'll just after the session I'll do all of that and then I'll flip over tomorrow. Um, but I noticed that the volume was close. There's more on the June contract, but there's still a lot of volume on the March contract. So I felt comfortable continuing to trade it one more day. That's all. But all of you, if you want to trade the June contract, you're perfectly fine, and you would be right in doing so. Mhm. Yeah, I know. Last month it was a 1 day off, so the continuous contract flipped on 1 day, and then the next day was when the volumes switched over. And it looks like this month did the same thing. The continuous contract flipped over Friday, and then the volume finally exceeded the previous contract today. Yep. Yeah, I think we also have. Let's see. Yeah, so we had the 930 basically sweep lows and sweep highs, and now it's going for lows, leaving the Asia high available here. February 29th. So that's the London low there. Yep. So we have the London low from the 29th and the 22nd, pretty right on top of each other, almost about 15-point difference. Oh yeah, the 5th. I think that was the day that we got really close and then we didn't take it. Is that what it was? Yeah, this is it there. On the higher time frame, I think that was the structure break too. Yep, it was. Yeah, so that's the February 29th low was the daily break of structure. And on the 5th, we got super close. I remember that session too. We got really close to it and then it bought out. Hmm. Yeah, even though we've been making new highs and things, I mean, when you look at the daily, it's it's almost like a glorified consolidation, really. There hasn't been a lot of separation in price. There's like you get a nice bullish candle, and then you get three or four smaller bearish candles to bring that price range back down. And that's pretty much how price has been going all of February. So it's not a huge range, even though we were consistently every 3 or 4 days making a new high. Okay, so we've now swept the opening range low, and we're getting ready to have our New York high and low printed. So let's go ahead and bring these back. So they're super close to the low. Let's see if that we immediately take the New York low. High goes here. All right, there we go. See, I knew that was going to happen. New York low was set here right at 10, and the first thing it did was take the New York low. Started building out of it. Yep, CPI tomorrow morning, 8:30. We have high impact news drivers every day this week. So there should be a lot of volatility this week. Today, I'm not 100% sure what we're going to get since we don't have any news, but for the rest of the week, we should be doing really well as far as our price action is concerned. Yep. Yeah, we had a heavily bearish candle for the week last week on dollar. And so I'm not surprised to see today so far the dollar building up higher prices. I was really expecting for it to push up, leave in as small a fair value gap as possible, but I was expecting it to push up if it's going to eventually push for that BISI that's below it on the weekly time frame. Mm. Bearish hourly fair value gap here. We lose this level here, this swing low at 17,890. Next, I'm looking at the swing low on the 1 hour, which is around 17,832. Hey, JR, good morning. Seven or eight candles with equal highs. Let's see if price wants to trade above that. All right, starting to reject already. It's still another 30 seconds on this candle. See where it closes, and then our macro will be over, and we'll just continue looking at price action. But I'll probably move back up to the 5-minute. That shift. Okay, let's see how the other indices closed out the hour. Now that we're at 10. Okay. So we see a swing high here taken out by USD. We haven't gotten a close above because we just started this hour 10 minutes ago, but we'll keep monitoring this one to see if we close above. And if we do, we could have some sustained bullish momentum. Let's see. Yep, bearish fair value gap in this area. Price could trade into, and we have one just above as well that it could trade to. All right, looks like during 9 o'clock, the Dow was the only one to sweep a swing high, which was here. Swept a swing high, rejected back down. S&P did trade above the previous hour's high, but it wasn't a swing high. The swing high for S&P happened around 7 o'clock, not during the. Oh, okay. It's the same time. It just didn't sweep the high, the swing high. It only swept the previous hour's high. And then if we move over to Nasdaq, we have about the same. It had a swing high around 5 or 6, so about an hour before. But last hour, even though it did trade above, it ran into the bearish fair value gap here and rejected down. All right, so far it looks like potentially Nasdaq might be the stronger of the three, but we'll see. I have to continue monitoring what's going on here. Okay. So all the rejections happening at an hourly fair value gap as well as the midnight open. And so far, while trading down, there hasn't been any support from the 8:30 open. So as we're now looking potentially higher, let's see if we touch the 8:30 and it also rejects from there. Sibby mentioned earlier up here. Okay. Mm. Okay. Yeah, Ray. I see it now. I see what you're looking at now with the 5 minute Sibby we were talking about before, and now I'm looking at the 1 minute. And I can see where the breaker with the fair value you got inside was built. Templar, good morning. Yeah, unfortunately, I attempted a long up in this area here, but we're still pretty early in the session. We're under an hour into our session so far. All right, we're getting now to test the 8:30 open. This is so far the midnight has been rejecting price. Let's see how the 8:30 works. Oh, okay. Oh, you're looking at the Dow Jones. Okay. Yeah, Dow Jones has already swept the 930 opening value. Dow Jones, in fact, is the most bearish of the three indices. All right. So far, we are getting a rejection off the 830. Wondering how price would react once it got there. Again, we still have the New York and the Asia high not traded to. So those two values are denoted up high. All right, another 40 seconds on this candle, and we'll see where this one closes. It looks like it's about the same size as the previous one, erasing all the progress made on that one. So far, hasn't made a new low, however. We're getting near half past the hour. We got another 5 minutes until we get there. I'm gonna run and grab another cup of coffee. I'll be back in under 2 minutes. Definitely before we get to 10:30. So just bear with me for a moment. Okay, I'm back. Let's see. Snipe. All right, Sniper. We'll catch you this afternoon then. Sitting on my hands. Yeah. D. Anderson's in. Good morning. Yep. Since the top of the hour, we've just kind of consolidated here in this range here. Expecting there to be some expansion at some point. We do have macro coming in about 20 minutes, so that may be the time for price to break out of its current range. Well, Manuel, we're pretty bullish. I mean, I'm bearish on every time frame now. I'm looking around. I don't see anything below an hour where we're not in bearish price action right now. Oh, okay, man. Well, yeah, it could be that way, William. That's you're right, and that's what happens when when you don't have any news, anything to really inject that kind of energy into price action early in the morning. You could get a lot of what we're having now, where it looks like it's just gathering orders. Templar, not sure at this moment. I'm not sure at this moment. I will reassess as price continues to move and decide if I'm going to enter a trade or not. I've already, as I mentioned, I already attempted one, so I'm not super excited about jumping in again right now. That doesn't mean that I won't. That just means that right now, price hasn't really shown anything, right? And if we look at this cluster here, it's just consolidating. We also saw the same thing here. It expanded and immediately retracted that back. Now, obviously, this was the opening bell, but even here, you've seen expansion, consolidation, and now recover. So none of this is exciting as far as price action is concerned. Yep. Okay, Robin. You got 20 points though, so be happy. Pat yourself on the back for that one. Oh, I can delete this. I thought it was going to recover it, but it didn't. All right, so we are now trading above the 830 open again. It's good to see that price is starting to move at 1030. I notice a lot of times at half of the hour, we'll get a change in direction. Okay, we're getting back to the area where we saw rejections on one, two, three, six candles earlier. Okay, on the 5 minute, looks like we got another rejection from the same area. Templar about 2 years ago. About 2 years ago, I started with the ICT 2022 mentorship. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Templar. I'm not trading the Dow. So no need to give me any tips on trading the Dow. I'm only trading the Nasdaq. Yeah. Well, Manuel, as I mentioned earlier, at the moment I'm not looking for anything. You asked me if like what was my bias, and I was telling you that right now on all time frames, price action is bearish. So I wasn't necessarily saying I was looking for a sale. I'm just telling you what is right now. And as long as price is sitting in this zone here, then there's really not a lot to do. As you can see, it is, oops, let's just start over from the beginning. All right, it just did this. Now it looks like it wants to do this. So there's no need to trade that at the moment. Queen is here. Good morning. Oh, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize your comment earlier. Hmm. Dorcas, good morning. How's it going? Uh, All right, I threw in this trend line. I noticed that on the 15-minute, these wicks to the downside seem to be um, forming a straight line. And so I threw the trend line up and it turned true. It is a straight line there. So we'll see if price wants to continue to move in this trajectory or if something changes. All right, I took a look at the comparison chart to look at the other indices, and all three seem to be on their own program right now. With kind of a neutral, which is the S&P is neutral for the hour. The Dow is heavily selling. And then we have Nasdaq trying to rebound and recover some of the lower prices we saw last hour. So all three are moving differently, which is probably why we see a seek and destroy profile here. And as you saw from Unicorn Queen mentioned that the dollar is buying, but it has run into a PD array, which is holding price at the moment. And so that's really where we are. Dollar needs to break out and decide whether it's going to push above this level or sell off. And then the indices will follow. Shifted down to the 1 minute time frame. We're moving in on the macro in just a few moments. Miss, good morning. Good morning, Miss. Deepak, what we're talking about is that New York switched time yesterday. Well, the U.S. did. We had daylight savings time switch over, so everyone moved their clocks forward an hour. So most of us are a little sleep deprived this morning, having to get up an hour earlier. The rest of the world, I believe, will switch their clocks in a couple weeks, maybe. So for now, I think we're off by an hour. Yeah, Robin, so, I'm in your time zone now. Now that now that we switched over, so this is my 6 months to be in the same time zone as California. So trading London would be a lot easier now for me. Um, but this New York session, yeah, waking up at 5:30 in the morning is going to take some adjusting, but I'll get there. Just give me a couple days and I'll be fine. All right, here we go. 10:50, everyone. All right, so we see that we did find some support from the 830, started pushing up, consolidating a little bit after trading back into the fair value gap that was created right here. You can see the candle body stayed above the median point of that fair value gap. And now we see a retest now of the midnight open, which is also where we had the opening bell, all the wicks, and this is essentially where I tried to long from and was rejected heavily. See, okay, so far in these last few moments, we do see a rejection on the dollar. It pushed right through that midnight open too. Targets above New York high and Asia high. All right, since we are looks like prices settling somewhat, let's at least pop over and take a look at the other indices in the dollar. So this black line here at 102.900, this is that higher time frame PD array. You also see it here, the pink area, the fair value gap. So that's only 1 hour time frame. So that's where it's really running into issues, right? It was a swing high from Friday morning London session, as well as a bearish PD array. So we see now price traded through it, was unable to close so far, and is now pushing downwards. We got another 90 seconds before this candle closes, so it looks like it's most likely going to close bearish. And we'll see how the next candle opens up, maybe creates a swing high here by having a lower high. And then we'll see how that positions itself as we head into lunch. But that's what's going on in the dollar. You can see how the Dow was heavily bearish. It was down here near the 38,500 mark. We can see it now finally starting to build back up, while we have S&P already bullish, already built out of its lower position and creating a high for the hour. And Nasdaq pretty much doesn't have a down wick at all. It's been bullish all hour, but just kind of playing in this lower area up until the last 10 minutes where it started to build on it. That's why I mentioned earlier, probably about 30 minutes ago, that Nasdaq is looking like potentially the strongest of the three. We'll have to continue to monitor, but it does look like it may be the strongest of the three of them. And it's good now to see dollar starting to push lower as it has reached one of its higher targets. Okay, now we have a trade back down below the midnight open. Let's see if we can hold that. We are into the next hour. We started 11 o'clock just a few seconds ago, so we did close the last hour above the midnight open. I was looking at this small fair value gap here as a place to long potentially. Looks like I may have been right, even though I didn't enter this trade at all. But that was based on after sweeping these highs and closing above, retracing back to this level, which is customary for price action. So I always want to trade back to the previous swing high that was just traded above and closed above. And so we had a fair value gap here, a little sliver right here, and then a larger one here. So I was betting on the little sliver holding up and the larger one staying open and the top one trading through. Mm. Manuel, yes, yes. So when you speak about relative strength and weakness, strength is generally spoken as a bullish trait, and weakness is a bearish trait. Oh, FX Diva, thank you very much. I appreciate you. And welcome to the channel. I don't think I've seen you in the chat before, so thanks for being here. Yep, Viv, go ahead and give my message for the first time this morning. I'll keep it short and I'll do it once. If you're enjoying the content this morning, go ahead and hit the like button, please. And if this is your first time joining or you've joined several times but you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe and the notification button and make sure that you're always getting up-to-date information on when we're hosting live streams. You'll get a reminder 30 minutes before we go live, as well as another reminder once we actually do go live. So just make sure you don't miss those invitations and subscribe and hit the notification. Excellent. Yeah, it seems like there's a big switch coming over to futures. Some of the prop firms on CFDs are getting hit with restrictions, and so that's limiting how U.S. traders are able to use prop firms. So there seems to be a lot of people moving over to futures now. Okay, so we did get a short tap into this fair value gap here. Now let's see if it holds or if it just pushes right through. And all right, let's now move to the 1 minute and see if this smaller one holds any weight. Another 15 seconds. All right, so we saw the last candle hold above the consequent encroachment. We did sweep lows here, so let's be aware of that. We had this high put in, which then gave us find our protected low, swing low here, swing low here. All right, protected low is there on the 1 minute. My mistake, protected low goes on the equals here. This fair value gap also represents equilibrium at the 50% mark, which we just, in this candle, just got a tap below into discount. Okay, it did not hold. Let's go ahead and remove that out of the way. We also can shift back up to the 5-minute macros over. And nearly a full retracement. We had all the way down to 88.6%. Still another 2 minutes before this candle closes. Intermediate and short-term highs and lows. Okay. All right. Thank you, Queen. I will check that out. T Trades is yeah, he's one of my one of the go-tos for educational material. No, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's going back and forth, and on the hourly, there aren't any gaps or anything. There's no PD arrays, as you mentioned, for price to even do anything. It'd be one thing if this upper region was on a higher time frame, a fair value gap, and then the lower region was also a fair value gap. At least you had something to trust to use. But I mean, we're kind of in no man's land right now. Yeah, we'll see what the dollar does this hour. I'm assuming it wants to make a swing high, so we need to make sure that the dollar does not take over the high created during the last hour. It needs to make a lower high this hour, and then from that swing high, we'll see whether during lunch it takes the swing high and pushes higher, or whether it rejects that swing high and pushes lower. Mm. But yeah, this is always a possibility on a morning session when there isn't any high impact news. Let's see if we reach consequent encroachment of this wick here. Almost. Missed it by maybe a point. Mm. Okay, so it did trade a little further down, so we did get past halfway of this wick here. Good night. Mm-mm. Doo-doo. Yeah, that's, you said about 70% of this range. It's 61%. Okay, wick to wick. 61.8. Yep. All right, let's see. I'll show you something here on the 1 minute because I'm still looking at the last 11 minutes. We haven't had price move at all. It's just kind of sat here in this 10-point range for last 11, 12 minutes. Hey, good morning, Shark. Yeah, you're right. Right at 8:30. Right on the 8:30 open. It went maybe a point below, and then start giving us a little bullish reaction there. All right, let's see if we continue to get a bullish reaction here, or if it digs a little deeper into the below the 8:30 opening into that optimal trade entry zone. Okay, so it is digging into the optimal trade entry right now. It's a little deeper in there. Let me pull back up the Fibonacci just so we all are familiar with the zone from 62 to 78%. But we do have 83.5 and 88% below the optimal trade entry, where price could also trade to. Oh, good job, Shark. All right, just a couple minutes before half past the hour. Gonna take a quick 2-minute break. I'll be right back. Back. Just gonna forward test this scalp here to see if it will work. All right, that would have been an entry. Let's see if it now trades up. All right, there it is. Would have delivered, would have done it. It was good to see. Minute. Get a few more candles on here so we can really see like what's been going on this hour. You can see the last 5 to 6 candles, or really the last 30 minutes, has just been completely bearish, with the exception of creating this wick here. It looks like these equal lows that are marked up here, we had price trade through twice. Both times the candle bodies are sitting right on the equal lows there, just above the 70% retracement level. I can get rid of this. This is no longer valid. And we're also still kind of toying with the 830 open level, whether that's going to be support or whether it's going to be resistance as price trades below. Thinking price may want to trade above this fair value gap here, right in this gap. We have a volume imbalance right here. Right on, TJ. Let's get it. Another rejection out of the 830. We had a big push up, and before the closure, all the way back down to the start of the 5 minute candle there. We're going to try this 830 open one more time. I was interested and went all the way down to the lower extremity of the optimal trade entry box. So William, when you say you take profit early, do you have a predetermined level where it's a certain amount of points that you take, or is it more of a sort of a price delivery level, like a previous candle's high or swing point or something like that? All right, got a minute for this candle is over, and so far it looks like it is above the 8:30 open by a decent margin, but a lot can happen in a minute. All right, well, since that's happening, let's bounce over to the dollar quickly and just take a look. I had mentioned earlier, I wanted to see the dollar not take a new high, but to make its high somewhere lower. So then you can get a swing high here. And then the following candle during the lunch break, we can see if it wants to trade higher, indicating bullish momentum, or if we see it shoot lower and sweep lows, and then we can look at potentially a trading lower. But since it's already made it or going to make a new high this hour, um, we'll just have to wait for lunch to see if it creates that swing point. All right, Shark, take care. And congrats from this morning. Lower time frame, previous swing points. Okay. All right. Appreciate that, William. Sure, that's helpful for some of the other traders as well. Yeah, you're right. Monday isn't it, especially when there's no news on Monday. Too often, Monday either has no news or it's a federal holiday or just some reason why Monday just isn't the best to trade. Yep. All right, let's switch back over here. We had a chance to see that the dollar was buying up, making a new high for the hour. We saw the Dow pushing higher, which it has been the weaker of the three so far. And then we see so far S&P and Nasdaq are selling for the hour, even though they're playing both sides. So there's a large wick below, and they've also pushed higher this hour. Right, as we are pushing higher now, let's be aware of this volume imbalance here. or Asia session. Oh, okay. Got it. Hey, we did get a nice rejection out of the volume imbalance. I wanted to see how price reacted there, but right now looks like we're going to go for another test. Okay, made it right through it with speed and power. And we are now in the macro. I completely missed the start of that. Hey, midnight open again. Of course, the dollar did that. It took out last hour's high and then rejected and started trading below. Right when we started getting this burst of energy here in the bullish momentum for NQ. Right, rejection off the midnight open once again. We retest the volume imbalance again. Okay. Yeah. So, okay, so on the 5 minute, we tested it and closed below the 5 minute volume imbalance. Let me just show that quickly. So we had this candle here that pushed well above into the midnight open and closed below down here. And now we have it again pushing well above. So let me go back down to the 1 minute. I was just highlighting that just so you'll see why I didn't delete the volume imbalance yet. On the 5 minute, it was still valid. All right, we'll now see if price can stabilize a little bit here before breaking below. Therefore, we can get a so we get an expansion, consolidation across, potentially a second expansion above the midnight open. Hmm. All right. Wow. Kind of saw that one coming. Not necessarily on that candle, but I saw it coming in the next handful of candles. Just had a feeling it was coming. And now we're at a level where it could reject. So let's see if this is as far as it wants to go. All right. Okay, so that'll do it for our morning session. Want to thank you all for being here and being part of our trading session this morning. I know it wasn't the most exciting session, and it didn't give us many entries or continuation moves or anything. It was a lot of seek and destroy. So it was more about playing defense and sitting on your hands and being patient as opposed to being aggressive in trading this morning. But I do want to thank you all for being here. Like the video on your way out. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that button. And if you're brand new or you just haven't subscribed before, go ahead and hit the subscribe. Make sure it's on with the notifications on, and you'll get invitations to all future live streams. I'm going to take an hour break and we'll be right back at 1300. So enjoy the hour off, and I'll see you all in about 60 minutes. Cheers. Take care, everyone. Oops, sorry, I came back. I just noticed there was a question from Unicorn Queen, and yes, you're right. On the 5 minute, this low at 10 o'clock is a protected low. Once this high was made here, that made this the protected low, and so far we haven't swept this low, nor have we swept this high, so it's still here. This is our low at 17,890 to switch market structure. So, yep, it's a protected low there. All right, I really am leaving now. I'll see you guys.